Red Wings lose 8-2 to the Boston Bruins. Now, you might be thinking that it's time for me to freak out, time for me to start yelling, getting mad, breaking down every individual play, and losing my mind and breaking my heart, but no. No, I just can't do it. Honestly, I got out all of my anger and all of my disappointment with this team out in the game against Toronto. This game just sort of sucked. Now we need to try and figure out what we're going to do for the next, 77 games of the season, starting tonight against Montreal. And if we go into every single game with the mentality of if they lose, we hate everything, we're not going to survive this season. So let's talk about this game. The first period was good. Now, I'm just going to say this right now. I'm not going to break down all 10 goals that were scored, 8 of them being for the Bruins. There's no point. There's no point, right? The Bruins just outplayed the Red Wings. You can't really describe it any other way. But the first period starts, and we actually look good. We have a relatively dominant period. No goals were scored until the very end. And the kids look good. I put an underline under the kids because another veteran defenseman gets hurt. Danny DeKeyser, who has honestly been one of the best defensemen over the past 5 games. He's out now too. He was holding his hand. It was reported it was an upper body injury. So let's assume it's his hand. We're all really optimistic, I think, in Detroit about the young players. But one thing, when you have this many young players who just got into the NHL and they're not playing with vets, they're not playing with vets who can teach them things, and even the vets they are playing, they're not at the top of their game, let's be honest. When we play these young players, we're going to see skill. We're going to see flashes of brilliance. We're going to see flashes of the future of the Red Wings defense system. But we also are going to see the rawness, the untrained, and just the not 100% NHL ready level for a lot of these players. Or even if these players are NHL ready, they're not ready for the role they're being given. And that's not a knock on them. What is uplifting about these games is that it looks like sometime in the future, maybe not this year, maybe not even next year, but sometime in the future, these defensemen who are filling in for all of our injured defensemen, they're eventually going to be able to fill those roles and fill them better than the defensemen we currently have that are out. So that should give us optimism. But first period goes, and we get a couple chances. I think we hit it off the post. Tuukka Rask had to make some amazing saves. Imagine how different the game goes if the Wings bag a couple in the first period. But as with all the other games, it didn't happen. And Pastrnak scores late in the first period, and that's kind of when it started to fall apart. Thing with the Red Wings, and this might be a side effect of them being young, is that when a goal is scored, they freak out. And when you're terrified after a goal, goals follow usually. So the second period happens, and now the Bruins turn it on, and they start looking like a cup contender, and we start looking like a Jack Hughes contender. We didn't even play that badly in the second. It's just the Bruins have game-breaking players. They have a game-breaking line. That Marchand, Bergeron, Pastrnak line is by far the best line in the NHL. Nothing beats it. Now, Boston isn't the best team in the NHL, but that top line, in my opinion, beats every single line. I'm not even saying that each of those players is the best at their position, but when combined, Marchand, Bergeron, and Pastrnak, numbers-wise, and just in the fact that they can beat teams, is the best line in the league. So the Bruins just have game-breaking players, and they start shelling us. And I feel so bad for Berni8 because a lot of these goals were not really anybody's fault, but they were definitely not Berni's fault. They might have been the defensive fault. Like the Charlie McAvoy goal right off the face-off. How often does that happen? Like maybe once in the NHL a month. The third goal was depressing, to be honest. And the third goal shows what I think is the real problem with this team. Thomas Vanek has the puck. They're going to go up for to generate something offensively. The game is still only 2-0. It's within reach. And he tries to pass it, and it goes right to Jake DeBrusk. And he dekes in past all the wings. Vanek is like, oh crap, and he tries to come back, but he can't stop him. And Berni sort of makes the stop, but not enough, and it just squeaks in over the line. Thomas Vanek needs to be smarter and better than that. Thomas Vanek has been in the league for long enough, and his role is important enough that we can't have him making those plays. If I'm Blashill, I'm mad at him and another player coming up. The fourth goal was a Bruins power play goal and a shot from Pastrnak, and it's not as good, but it's like the Maple Leafs power play in that you're lucky if you get out of there alive. We have a 5-on-3, and something good happens. Filip Hronek, with a pretty good shot, just puts it on, and it goes in. And he has his first NHL goal. It sucks that it had to be on this night, but I don't hate him on the power play. Hronek has looked great, and he deserved that. He deserved that sooner, to be honest. And it's 4-1, and no, the Wings aren't really going to win. But you look at this game so far, and are they losing because they played horribly? Or are they losing because the Bruins play amazingly? And when you're a good team, good things just tend to happen to you. I find that when you're a less skilled team, you have to work really, really hard for your goals, and they don't come. But when you're a good team, sometimes you make your own luck. But right there, Hronek works hard, gets a good shot, gets his goal. He deserved it. What doesn't help after a young player makes a great play is when Frans Nielsen, another veteran in the league, another former Islander actually, after Thomas Vanek, he has the puck and he kind of whiffs on it, and it leads to a 2-on-1, and that is a goal to be mad at. Berni doesn't really have much of a chance. It's a textbook 2-on-1, and Frans Nielsen has to be better than that. Just like Thomas Vanek has to be better than the third goal. Frans Nielsen, with the role on this team being given an A half the time, he has to be better than that. Poor Joey Hicketts is just like behind there with Pastrnak, just like, help me, and he kind of goes down, and Pastrnak just puts it in, and he has a hat trick now. Then the Bruins have a power play, we kill it off, and with couple seconds left, Larkin gets the puck, and he just has this shot when he wants to that beats Tuukka Rask, and it makes... And I love Dylan Larkin when he is shooting. He's been known as a playmaker the past couple years. I really like Dylan Larkin's shot. He has this way of just fooling the defender and using him as a screen. That's skill that we're going to need in the next few years. So, good on Larkin. It's 5-2. Okay, the 6-2 goal was also angry. Nielsen is at the offensive blue line. He's ready for the pass. He's looking at the play, the puck battle on the boards. He knows the puck is coming. The puck goes to him, and he does not take the puck, leading to a 3-on-2. Anders Bjork scores. Nielsen has to be better than that. This is the problem with the Wings. It's not the youth. Okay, the youth aren't game breakers. The youth aren't going to carry the team. Not yet, at least. They're rookies. But this team... Ken Holland brought in vets. Ken Holland brought in Thomas Vanek. He brought in Frans Nielsen. And they've been given important roles that I don't think many other teams would have given them. And they have easily been the Wings' worst players over the past 5 games, which is not okay. Because 5 or 6 players on this team aren't old enough to drink in the States. You can't let these easy odd man rushes develop and leave your young defenseman to fish the puck out of the net because they're the only ones back. Finally, DeBrusque gets a shot on it, deflects off someone's skate, goes past Berni8, whatever, 7-2. Then the 8th goal, come on. Yeah, they scored, but the Bruins were kept going. There was 1 second left. They put it in. Okay, 8-2 now. And the game ends. The camera purposely, I think, panned on the faces of Dylan Larkin and Athanasiou and Anthony Mantha and Nick Jensen. And you know what I noticed about all of them? Young players. And that's what's important to take about this game, is that the guys who are messing up, Abdelkader, Vanek, Nielsen, they're not really the future. The problem, of course, is thanks to their contracts, they're going to be here in the future. But they aren't the future. The future are those guys on the bench. The guys who just had this look in their eye of just anger. Just disappointment, you know? I look at Dylan Larkin, I look at Athanasiou, and even if they haven't turned it on the ice, they've looked more than anybody else like the future of this team, and they look like they care about this team. It seems like no one outside of the Wings cares about the Wings. They're the least interesting team right now in terms of the standings. No one thinks they're going to do anything. No one's even making fun of the Wings that are bad. It's complete apathy by everyone else in the league. We've been completely invisible. But you look at the bench, and you look at Dylan Larkin and Athanasiou and Mantha, they care. They know that this is a lost year, but they care about how this team looks, and they care about how they look. And I gotta think that when this curse, this voodoo curse hanging over the Red Wings finally lifts, they're going to turn it on. We're not going to make the playoffs, probably. It's doable, obviously. We're not that far behind, but most teams that start this cold don't make it. And this team on paper isn't going to make it. But the youth, they're going to do their best. And when, on that glorious day that the Wings have skill, have game breakers on their team, those players that we see now missing passes, having trouble, having probably the worst, start to a career that any rookie could ask for, they're going to turn it on. They're going to be the next batch of Red Wings that we are thinking about for years on end. So I know it's hard to take positives out of an 8-2 loss, but just remember, our worst players are not the future. Our best players are the future. And who knows, if this team keeps playing like this, our best players might be Jack Hughes. So, tomorrow, Montreal. I've been optimistic, but God, if you're going to win a game, win this one. Your games after Montreal are not pretty. Just win this game. I've been Jacob, a depressed Red Wings fan, and let's try and have some optimism, because this season is not going to be very fun if we are losing our minds every game. All right, see you.